Hi everyone, welcome back to my art channel. It's Z, I'm a picture book illustrator and I'm really happy that you're here. In today's video, I'm going to share you how I actually design my schedules as a full-time artist. And in previous video, I showed you 16 techniques and 16 ways to be more organized and to schedule your weekly plans. But in today's video, I'm going to share you more details on how I do it myself. And also, I should mention that I learned all these personal experiences over at least 10 years. Yes, it seems a lot, but I'm young. Don't think that I'm aged. Okay, I recommend you to also watch the previous video, but the good new thing is that you don't have to scroll all over my channel because I've added the link in the description of this one. So, let's go. I believe that chaos is not always a ladder. Yeah, you might be familiar with this sentence. First of all, let me tell you that all the things I'm gonna share you in this video, as I said, are personal experiences, but they are beneficial for everyone because they're not weird. But you should also still be alert of making them personalized because they're gonna work better for you. For example, you might be a morning person, so I recommend you to mm, include the longest period of working hours during the morning. But if you are more active during evenings, you should put your focus on being productive on evenings. And you also need to find your own routine. I'm going to mention how to find your routines by tracking your time in 3 steps. Okay, but before starting that 3 steps, I want to mention you some extra tips how to make a better plans and how to stick to them. Because it's not just about writing plans, what is important is actually how to put them in action. Over this time, I came up with some ideas, some techniques to stay more motivated and active by doing some simple choices. First of all, if you're like me, you are responsible for household chores, so you need to be organized because if you lose the control of your environment, everything will looks like a mess, and then you cannot be able to concentrate on what actually you're doing with your life and artwork. The point that I mentioned in previous video, the links above, was that if you are a freelance artist or if you are starting to be a real artist, you should show it in practice. You cannot just name yourself, yeah, I'm an artist, I'm a picture book illustrator. You need to show up behind your desk, start the day by doing your job. Yes, it's the point. You need to consider it as a real job. For that, you need to be organized. And let me tell you some tips about how to become more organized as an artist or even any kind of jobs, of course. The first thing that is really important is to always do regular and repetitive household chores and stuffs without overthinking. I mean that do it as immediate as possible. You don't have to plan for them. Don't neglect them. Don't postpone them because sometimes you may feel lazy for those repetitive and meaningless works. But of course, there are some studies that mention they are good for creativity. They make your mind move and think in different aspects. But if we put that aside and look at it just some ordinary things to do that are always they really seem boring, I guess doing them immediately is key. If you leave the dishes for hours, no one is coming to help you, no one is coming to wash them for you. At the end, you are responsible for them. And if you work from home like me, you should consider doing household chores as a short rest between working hours. For example, if you've been working for 2 hours non-stop, you probably need a few minutes of rest and relaxing. So instead of scrolling social media, which will bring you distraction, you can focus on working on household chores as you can do chores. You can, for example, you can clean up your desk. You can uh, dust off the mirror. Anything. They gonna make you feel refreshed because you're doing some different activity without any pressure on your mind because you don't have to think a lot. You can do them automatically. Yes, make it do it as a machine, like a machine. Don't think about it, just finish them because you need time to work on your art. You don't need time to feel bad about the postponed stuffs and tasks. And the next point that is super important is to prepare your desk the night before the new day. At the end of the day, you should put your sketchbook, your canvas, your art tools, your iPad, anything ready for work. When you wake up in the morning, you will feel confused if you just start thinking now what to do, what not to do. But if you've already made everything ready for a start, you're not going to lose your energy at the beginning of the day on doing something normal, something unnecessary. Okay, now it's time to talk about how I actually make my weekly plans, and I'm going to show you 3 steps. I always have a notebook which contains every single day of the year in a page, or it's a short page between 2 days. It doesn't matter, it depends on you, and it's gonna be stick with me all over the year. And then I have some piece of papers. I print them every single week. They are some weekly planners. You can also design yours. I've mentioned it in previous video. It wanna be it's absolutely it would be really nice to have your own customized planner. Maybe I do it in future. Yes. And besides these 2 types of planners, I also have some random papers. I don't make them fancy, but I still try to make a good mood around myself. Okay, now let's talk about what are we going to do with these 3 papers. Personally speaking, I'm not into digital planners yet, but it might change in the future, who knows. But you should find the system that suits you best. For example, if you're okay with using applications, go on, it's okay. But if you're like me, you prefer to write with real paper, real pen and pencil, it's also okay. Don't worry about it. Okay, the point is that I didn't master planning overnight. As I mentioned earlier, it took me at least 10 years to find my own systems. It must be better for you to do it faster because you're gonna lose a lot of time on thinking about how to schedule your days and what's your personal system. If I were you, I would immediately pick a system without overthinking about it. Being obsessive about finding a system is a waste of time. What is matter is to be scheduled, to be organized, to be clear on our plans with details and put them in practice. Okay, it's time to talk about step 1. On every weekend, I write down my the new upcoming week plans, even though it's repetitive somehow because I've already known about my routines and my working schedule, but it's really important to do it every single week. Let me tell you a story about myself. I couldn't manage writing my programs and my plans for the past week, and I almost ruined my week, even though I've already known that's what I'm going to do. And my days were, as always, nothing changed at all, but just because I didn't write down my plan in advance, I couldn't manage my time. And believe me or not, it was a big surprise for myself because at first I thought it's okay, I'm gonna do that because I've already been doing this plan for a lot of weeks now, and it's not gonna be a challenge for me to do it automatically. But believe me or not, I fail. Okay, I print some weekly planners every single week, as I mentioned, and you can download them. There are a lot of free papers on the internet, but making your own could be really amazing. I will do that really soon in the future, and of course, I'm going to share another video about how to design a planner. Why not? Honestly, I've tested the theory of the importance of writing down weekly plans even though they seem repetitive. And the result has always been the same. Sometimes I miss writing the weekly plans for different reasons, even though it's not time consuming at all. And believe me, I ruin those weeks every time. Yeah. Although my weekly plans don't change a lot and they are almost the same, and somehow I know them, I realized that even writing repetitive schedule is important. It doesn't matter if you already known that you're supposed to do or something or what kind of things you're responsible for during the week. You need to commit to your plans by writing them the whole week before it starts, and it's really important. You can have your own personal style on doing it, but I learned that when it comes to planning, you must be crystal clear. It wouldn't be enough to just write something like Sunday doing illustrations, practices, then going out for dinner, and then maybe painting a digital art. No, being clear is key. Instead of writing unclear stuffs, you should write them in this way. Okay, for example, I'm gonna work from 8:30 to 12:30 on picture book project. Then from 12:30 to 2 p.m. I'm going to make my lunch, rest, and home stuffs. And then again, from 2 p.m. to 4, I'm going to do my picture book illustration projects. And I will consider a quick and small rest for myself around half an hour would be enough, and then I'm going to back to work working on painting a new digital art until 6 p.m. and then I'm going to maybe having a little rest, and after that I'm going to have my dinner out until 8 p.m. and then I will be come back home from 8:30 to 10 p.m. I'm going to study an art history book. You know, everything is in detail and everything is clear. And then we move to step 2. I talked a lot about weekly plans, but how about daily plans? Yes. At the end of each day, you should work on more details about the upcoming day's plans. You know that you are supposed to work, for example, from 8 to 12 on illustration, your picture book illustration. But what are you going to do? Are you going to work on colors, or you're going to do a rough sketch, Yes, it's really important to make details about your plans. So, add more details to the next day plans. You can do it in another paper for keeping your weekly planner paper clean. For example, I should mention that Sunday I'm going to color the characters of my picture book illustration project, and I'm going to study 20 page of art history book, and also I'm going to rough sketch for a new painting in digital applications like Procreate. I'm pretty sure that you might be familiar with the feeling of being confused about your daily tasks. You wake up energetic, you're ready to have a great day full of work and activity, but all of a sudden you consider with yourself, what am I supposed to do? And this step is gonna help you with solving this problem. The feeling is like that you wake up with pile of works, unfinished works, and you don't know where to start and what to do. But doing this technique and this step will help you to be more clear on your plans. You won't feel overwhelmed because at the beginning of your day, and it's really important. And the key is that to repeat doing this every single day. Don't tell yourself that it's gonna okay, I know what to do, I know what not to do, but believe me, writing down your schedules is really important. And now, the final step. This notebook is for the final step. You know, the reason behind of scheduling and being organized is to make progress over time. And you cannot make that progress without tracking your activities. Yes. As I mentioned, I keep a notebook that has a date on each page for each day of the year, and at the end of the day I write down the amount of hours that I've been active on different areas like sculpting, like painting, illustrating, reading, anything. And also if I waste my time a lot for no reason, I write it down too, because I want to consider myself a punishment. Okay, you need a report of each day for a couple of reasons. Actually, you're gonna benefit a lot from doing that. Actually, you need a report of your daily activities. You need to record this for some couple of reasons. And there are not just reasons, there are benefits that you can achieve easily but just by just writing down a daily report. Okay? The first thing is that you will have access to some records of your practical times to be more familiar with what technique or time managing method may work best for you. And the second one is that when everything is obvious, you can set better real goals for your future. Honestly, when we start to be organized and plan daily routines, we may feel unrealistic because we want to make the best, we want to achieve everything, but to be honest, we need to stay real with our plans. We need to be familiar with our limitations and abilities. For example, if you're just beginning to be organized, of course it would be really hard for you to work for long hours each day. So, if you track your activities, it's not just about being practical, even as I mentioned, wasting your time. You can have more obvious vision, more clear vision of your habits and your routines, and you would know how to make them move forward and how to make them better. And the last benefit is that you know when you really deserve a gift as a winner. For example, you may be always waiting for ordering your favorite food from your favorite restaurant, or you have been always thinking about buying a new art tool. You can mention them, you can think about them as a gift for your progresses. And please comment for me the fourth reason why we should keep a record of daily practice activities and our daily practical hours. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you learned a lot of new things. I'm waiting for your comments, and also I would be really happy if you like this video. It's gonna help my channel a lot. And of course, if you're into talking about art and watching videos related to art and how to be a real artist, this channel is yours. Just click the subscriptions and turn on the bell. Okay, see you in next one. Bye.